Okay, people, today we are going to be talking about how to get them high ticket websites and how to sell them. I'm talking £10,000 and upwards of websites. I'm not talking about £500 quick websites. I'm talking about them big bucks that you can easily get within 2 weeks to a month. These websites, sometimes I've completed a £10,000 website within 3 weeks, and sometimes it's taken over 3 to 4 months. It all depends on obviously speaking to the clients, but obviously the faster we do these projects, the better. What I'm going to tell you is the exact breakdown of what I have achieved and been able to sell myself as to speak, to actually get into the room with these clients, and how you can achieve this yourself. Now, before we get into this, I want to tell you, this isn't going to be easy, and you're going to need to be good at what you do. Whether you use Webflow, Wix, you code sites, or you use whatever tool, you need to know this tool in and out, because the main reason is you're going to need to answer every single problem that the client has. If they are paying a premium, you need to be offering a premium service. Now, for example, think about Rolex or Rolls-Royce, how they treat customers. If you rocked up to them and you said, the engine on my Rolls Royce or the watch face on my Rolex isn't working, do you think they go, oh, I don't know about that? No, they're going to be within 2.5 seconds go, sorry sir, yes, let me take a look at that. They're never going to say that they don't know what they're doing. They're never going to say that they're going to outsource it to somebody else. They're always going to give the perception that they know exactly what is wrong and they're going to fix it as quickly as possible. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to know the answer to everything. This just means that you need to be on the spot, good communication, tell them that you're going to get it fixed. And if you need to outsource someone, you do that and you handle that all yourself. Now, the other thing is it's going to be stressful. These big projects normally have big teams, and I've been on a project where I've been up late nights. I've done multiple 10 hours, even longer, to get the project over the finish line. But in saying all of this, it is extremely rewarding. It's almost like being a part of a battle. Like one of the projects that I'm going to show you at the end, if you stick around, I'm going to give you an example of a project that actually made £20,000 off in under 2 months. I'll show you the exact website and what went on with that. But that particular website was extremely fun because there was a team of designers, a team of Webflow designers, and I was the head of this particular design sprint, and it was just insane the amount of people coming at me, and it was a challenge. It was almost being in a Muay Thai fight. I'm an actual martial artist and I love fighting, and it was a similar experience to that, where yes, it was hard work, but it was invigorating knowing that I was building an amazing project for an amazing team and obviously getting paid an extreme amount of money, which I've never had before. So the quick answer is you can do it. You can earn £10,000 per month, per week, whatever you want, but it's going to be hard, and you're going to need to be an expert, and you're going to need to be accountable for everything that goes on within the website. And as I said, if you stick around, I'm going to give you an example of a £20,000 website that I built and a £10,000 website that I built, along with all of the standard operating procedures that I've used to get there. So within this video, what we're going to go over is some important steps for you to get these clients. The number one step is going to be your brand portfolio and your reviews. I'll go into this in a bit. The second step is going to be perfecting your communication and your professionalism with these clients, and obviously being accountable for your actions. If you're going to say you're going to deliver something, you're going to deliver it. Third step is going to be your SOPs. This stands for standing operating procedures. And then the last example I'm going to give is, there is one more step. It's going to always have a solution to the problem, and I'm going to share with you ways you can solve problems if you run into them, because Lord knows I have had a lot of problems with websites and I've always come to a solution. And then right at the end, I'm going to show you that big bad website that made me some serious money. So number one, if we come over to my desktop, I'm going to share with you exactly what I have in terms of sharing with my clients. Now, first and foremost, you're going to want to be making sure that you are putting your website brand out there. You need to have a brand so that people can find you. Nobody's going to hire Kyle Cannon just off my name, so I've built Legacy Design Agency, which you can see here. This is in a state of rebranding, so if this changes by the time you watch this video, don't worry, I'm not dead. But basically, you want to get your brand. You need to have a strong, consistent brand, and you need to build a website. That is going to be your number one priority. Your second priority, as soon as you get that website up, is you need to get some portfolio pieces. So as you can see here, I've got a list of websites. Now, if you were just starting out, literally either build them from scratch, you can't find clients, or what you're going to do is you go to your friends and family and your local businesses and literally build £500 websites as quickly as possible to get these reviews. Now, this is about getting £10,000 clients, so hopefully you've already got websites. So you're going to put your best websites at the top, and you're going to ensure that you're niching into a particular subject, so that obviously, so for example, the high ticket clients that I work for are SaaS or fintech. So a lot of my websites are within that area, so I can propose these websites to them, show that I actually have a background knowledge in this area. So make sure you're niching if you want these £10,000 plus websites. The next thing you need is reviews. So Facebook is going to be a very good place for reviews. I need to obviously get some more, but 11 reviews, it just shows up when people search you. And then more importantly, you need to get Google reviews, which you can see here for Legacy Design Agency, another very important review system. Now, as you can see, I've got 5 stars across the board. I've never got lower than a 5-star, but if I did, that's an opportunity to answer a question if somebody's giving you lower. Now, if somebody's giving you a 1-star, I would do everything you can to fix that. Now, another thing you can do is use freelancing sites. Now, a lot of my big ticket clients actually come from places like Upwork. As you can see, $20,000 of earnings, and the job success score is 100%, and I'm a top rated freelancer. So I actually use this to market myself as well, because it's very hard to lie on Upwork. So clients can obviously vet me via this solution as well. So there we go. What you want to do is actually get your brand out there and make sure that you have got reviews across the board, so that you are ensuring, let's just go back to my desktop, my face, so that you are ensuring that you are getting the absolute best, perceived notion from the client as possible. Now, number 2 is going to be about communication and professionalism. Now, the important thing with this is that you need to come across like you are literally Rolls Royce or Rolex. So when you're speaking to the client, you want to engage them from ground zero and tell them every step of the process. And more importantly, what I tend to do is vet the project. And what I mean by that is I will not take on projects I know that I cannot complete to 100% of quality, so that I'm not getting them 5 stars. So if there's anything within the project that I don't think I can do or I can't hire out, I will not take them on, because it's not worth the risk for my business to have a failed project. What this also does is that I speak to the client on the call and I tell them, listen, I'm going to tell you honestly by the end of this call if I can complete this project for you or not. This isn't because of my lack of skills, this is because of my professionalism and how I want to do a great job for you. And if I think that I can't do it, I will propose somebody who can, and I'm sorry, we're just going to have to part ways. So the way you do this is obviously you go through the entire brief of the website, and then you need to pull out the expectations from the client. So that is time frame, cost, size of the project, everything like that. And you need to give them quick answers on the spot within the call. And you can only get this obviously through repetition of being on call with people. But you need to come from a point of view that you are not begging for their work. You need to come across like you really do want to help them, but you're not going to take them on unless you 100% can guarantee that this project is going to be a success. So that is point number 2, communication and professionalism. So obviously you're going to need to learn how to talk to people very well. Now, number 3, this is the juicy bit. This is all to do with SOPs. Now SOPs, if we come over to my screen, which you can see here, it's all got to do with the PDFs, or you can send them any way across you want to the client. That's going to get them to understand what the standard operating procedure of your business is. So after I've got on call with the client and I've given them a quick rundown of everything, you don't want to overload them. That is very important. You want to get across that you are going to do their job for the best of your ability that you can, because if you overload them too early, they're just going to be like, no, this is too much. You want to make the process so streamlined and so easy that they just know where they are in the step-by-step process just by talking to you, and then you supply all of the documentation just to back up. So these PDFs that I've got here, I have a website brief and a website contract that I've used InDesign to design, but I'll probably move over to Figma very soon. Now, the brief is something that I send over. It is basically everything that we've talked about on the call, everything that the client has me, but I put it into one document, so there's literally no disagreement on what is possible with the project. So I break this down into the website specs, the specifications of website with the features and the assets involved, the website structure, so the exact pages and the actual sections of the website proposed, the milestone calendar, so that is the time frame of the project and broken down into, I tend to break it down into design, development and launch. And then the project price. This is where I give them the initial pricing. I don't speak about price until I actually send this across. This is very important because on the call, you're not going to get enough information across. So I tend to send this PDF across. I get them to check it without the price and I go, is this right? And then if they say yes or no, if they say no, let's add this. That's why you don't put the price on, is because you're going to, if they change the brief, we're going to increase the cost. So let me actually show you what's here. So based on the call, there could be multiple things. This is just example. Do they need a domain plan? So these are costings, because sometimes clients don't know that they've got to pay for these things. So do they need a hosting plan? Do they need a protection plan, a maintenance plan, an email plan? What features are involved? And obviously what plugins could be involved? What kind of custom code is needed? All of them sort of subscription-based services that the client might not think they need. We need to find out now to ensure that we're not just throwing costs at them later, because that's going to come across as professional when we give them the final cost. It includes everything. So the features obviously outline exactly what's going to be on the website so that you're not going to start losing time and costing to the website. And then obviously the most important thing is what pages are involved. We'll go into detail on the SOPs in a separate video, but this is just running through quickly the professionalism that we come across. So look, we've got the pages here and a very quick sitemap, the sections involved on the page, and then the milestone here, and then the final cost breakdown of everything involved here. So this is a very good way to get across to the client, listen, this is going to be 15 grand, and a lot of clients will be like scratching their head going, why is this 15 grand? You don't need to explain, because you're basically going to say within here exactly why the cost is and how it's broken down. So they know, wow, this person's professional, they've done it before, they know exactly what we want, they've got it written down, they have listened to every single word, let's go ahead with these guys. Now you're going to win 9 times out of 10 over somebody that is not going to send something like this through, because they're just not going to know what they're going to get. Another important aspect, but we'll go into this in another point, is your payment plan. So a lot of clients don't want to obviously hand over £10,000 straight away. So I tend to do it in 3 steps. Again, that is on design, an initial investment, then once the design's finished, then once the development's finished, and then once the launch is sent. It can be split up into anything you want, but I tend to like to do 2 payments. Some clients like 4. Now, a very good document that you need as well is the contract. Now, within my contract, I have a complete process breakdown. Again, this is just expressed to the client within calls. This is just for them to refer to. Again, that process of like Rolls Royce or Rolex. When you get a Rolex or a Rolls Royce, you're going to get all of them booklets with it, aren't you? You're going to get the pages and just everything, and it's just, you might not even read it, but it's just nice to get these documentations because it makes you feel like they really care about you. So having these documents, even if the client doesn't read it, just sending it across in a very well written email is going to sound so professional. Now, all this is where you need to, obviously, every project that I do, I tend to be adding to this contract, because there's always a new legal issue or some kind of issue that a client didn't realize wasn't involved within the project. So I tend to add everything into this contract, and it has protected me so many times, explains the payment, and obviously it makes the client respect you, that you have done your due diligence and understood what is involved with the project. So they're the 2 documents that I send across, and obviously then you send a final invoice. Make sure everything is branded, like the invoice should be branded as well. It's all just a professional process. Now, once that internal standard operating procedure of onboarding is done, that is when we go into the design phase. Now, if you don't do design for your website, it's not a problem. You can skip this part. But if you do designs for your website, because that's going to allow you to add an extra £5,000 to £10,000 on the project, I would say you should be doing design, because you could turn a £10,000 website into a £20,000 website, or a £20,000 website into a £40,000 website. So with this, I use Figma. I invite, after they've been onboarded they've actually accepted the contract, they've signed it, and they've sent the initial deposit. That's when I add them to a private Slack channel. I give them my private business WhatsApp, and I say that they can contact me via email. They get all 3 areas of contact, and they can contact me at any time, and so I say to them that I will get back to them within 24 hours. Normally it is within the hour if I'm on the same time zone as them. And I come across with that very clear, saying that I am here to help you. It's not the other way around. I'm always here throughout the process, and you're part of the team. So once they're through the Slack, this is when I send over the Figma design. And there's a couple reasons why I do this. It is so premium for the client to be shown you designing the website and actually researching their competitors. And within Figma, they can actually watch you live, and you can present and you can leave comments. It's just a very, very nice process for the client to come along. Some clients don't like being a part of it, and that's absolutely fine. I will export everything as a PDF and send it across at intervals. Some clients don't want to see anything at all, and I adapt to that and I don't send them anything. But the majority, I'd say 65% and upwards, do like to be a part of this process, and it allows me to streamline the comments and the amends so much easily. So there was 3 parts to this. There's the brief research and assets. This is just going into their brand, their branding. This is going into competitor research. Depending on the size of the project, these SOPs will change. Again, all of the assets of the website, icons, buttons, illustrations, logos, colors, and then all important, the copy, which I split down into pages. And this is an iterative process. This is where the client can leave comments and obviously leave me information in any form that they want. I tend to say to clients to use Google Docs, but they can provide them in any way. Then there's the step 2, where it's low fidelity wireframe, where I use jigsaw puzzle pieces that I've used throughout multiple websites to build the basic skeleton of a website. This is a great way to tell, listen, we've come to the end of our design phase. Before I actually start properly designing the pages, are we happy with the structure? Once they A-OK that, it's normally not really much moving backwards and forth. And then you can see with this website, this is when we go into the actual design phase. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because you can see how in-depth these standard operating procedures are, the SOPs. It brings the client like your hand holding them throughout the entire process. You're not just going, oh, let me take £10,000 and then bosh, here's a website. And then obviously the website's completely wrong. The process that I am showing you is a step-by-step increment, because it just makes sure that you're filtering out any problems, and you're always going to run into problems, but doing it this way, it's going to look much less like a problem and much more like you're solving something, because you're going slow and methodically. And doing this in this process also allows you to quickly and efficiently build a website that should take 4 months and do it within 2 weeks. So this is why clients choose me for their £10,000 to £20,000 projects, because they know once I've taken them on call and if they have asked to show me my process, they're like, wow, there's no way we can fail, because there was just so many guidelines and standard operating procedures that there is no way we can fail at the end of this project. So this is how robust and in detail you need to be when you're building websites of this size. Now, the next part of this, once you've got the onboarding documents done, they're in your Slack channel, you show them the process, you've designed the website, you've developed the website, and you have all of your setup within Webflow, which I'll do a separate video on, because I like to use the client first naming system, and I have a very fast and methodical process of moving Figma designs into Webflow with my template. It is just flawless. I'll share that with you guys. If you join the Facebook group, linked below, by the way, all of these assets will be provided. I just like sharing these with you guys because I want to make as much money with you, because it makes me more money, because we all make money together. But the next step, very important. Now, with a £20,000 website, like I said, they're going to have big teams. There's literally going to be teams of engineers on that website. So you need to have a launch flow. This is a launch checklist I utilize for every website. Now, I know launching from the back of my hands, but when you're dealing with websites that have millions of viewers per week and per month, you want to make sure that everything is done step by step and you are ticking off everything. And sometimes these big clients, a lot of the time, they won't let you have access to the DNS servers and all of that good stuff. So having a launch flow on whatever, I tend to use Google Sheets because most people have access to Google Sheets, and you can obviously share this with people, and it allows you with the domain host or with the Google indexing people, whoever's got the accounts that are needed to launch the website, you can tick this off slowly and quickly, because when you're swapping that domain over and if something goes wrong, your arse is in the frying pan, my friend. So make sure that this process is flawless. I've had one mix up before and it will never happen again, where a site went down for 48 hours. Now, luckily, I tend to always do my launches on the weekend, just in case of that problem. And it ended up being, it was the domain host's problem. He'd incorrectly put in the wrong DNS data, but obviously for the first 48 hours, the clients thought it was my fault, and I've never run into that issue, and I was sure it was their fault, but I couldn't tell them this, so I just had to make sure that I was going through every process possible. But if you've got the launch flow, which I didn't have at that time, I could have told them, listen, everything's been done properly, and I could have green ticked everything and be like, nope, something's gone wrong on your side, and we could see by this document here. So this is why I use this flow every single time. And again, this is going to allow you to get them £10,000 high ticket websites, because you're going to be doing the due diligence and you're going to be an expert, and they're not going to lose any downtime. Very, very important. Now, this is where I have the launch flow. So once you have developed a website, you have designed everything, this is where you want to come into this document. This document is absolutely brilliant. It allows me to check off everything in a green tick so that I am not losing out on any steps. Now, the final step is you need to have a solution to everything. And the best way that you're going to be able to do this is to utilize your community. Now, obviously, I am a Webflow developer. This means that I have access to a whole host of communities and solutions. And I'm just going to give you some of my best out there. So obviously you have FinSuite, or FinSuite I like to call it. They have an attribute database, which I will show you here. So if we type in FinSuite attributes, you can see here when you type in this, it's going to come up with a load of high tier filtration systems that are just absolutely amazing and allow your website to be sold for that extra buck, and obviously £10,000 or more. So I use these solutions all the time. If you're not using these, definitely start. The great thing is they have a great team behind them, so that nothing's ever going to go wrong, and you're always going to be able to solve a problem if you do run into one. Now, a next solution is actually using YouTube. So I use Timothy Ricks. He also has a whole filter list of solutions that you can use. You can use Webflow forums, which have always helped me. Definitely make an account today so that you can easily ask people questions whilst you're doing projects. You can actually join various Slack channels, especially if you get the FinSuite Pro membership. That's a great one to have. Of course, you can join the Facebook group linked below. My group, where I answer questions and I help you solve problems. It's called the Webflow Pro group. And obviously, you're going to need to be using custom code to create certain aspects of these websites. Now, you're going to need to understand some CSS and some JavaScript. And if you have been using Webflow for a few years like me, you're definitely going to know the basis of it, because if you're building expert websites, you do tend to understand it. Now, I started out as a designer, a logo designer. I have never done a JavaScript or CSS course, but because I watched a lot of YouTube channels, I've actually come to grips with how these code works. And the number one way I actually learned from doing this is I will search for Webflow clonables, and a lot of these clonables with complex components are coded. I will back engineer them as much as I can. I tend to do this on my own projects, but if I do step into a Webflow project for a client and it's a little bit out of my expertise, it's fine. This gives you some movement to experiment. Don't ever think, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this for the client. Just experiment, and you always think that you have a solution to the problem, because there's always going to be a solution out there. Now, if you can't find it within YouTube channels, within the FinSuite membership or the attribute system, within Timothy Rick's database of files within forums, then you can ask for outside help. Now, one of the coolest ways to do this is to use ChatGPT. I've used this to solve multiple coding errors before and hosting errors. So I'll actually just put in the website and ask ChatGPT what the error is that it's having, and it will give me a solution that I can write to the client. So don't ever think you can't answer the client, because you can use ChatGPT to answer the problems for you. Now, of course, if you were looking for paid options, you can get on Upwork and you can hire. I've had to hire CSS or JavaScript developers before. You can get these very cheap, and obviously you can double check this, the code that they do within ChatGPT, just in case there's any problems with it. Then, of course, you can hire a mentor. If you want a mentor like me, obviously drop me a message. I can get involved. Or you can obviously re-engineer, like I said, paid designs from online. So there you go. There is a whole host of procedures that are going to allow you to get them £20,000 websites. This is how to sell £20,000 websites, not how to get these websites. If you want to learn how to actually get these clients, I've got more videos and I will be releasing more high ticket website videos. But to summarize how you get these websites is, number one, you need a strong brand, portfolio and strong reviews. Make sure that is set up. Number two, you need to learn to communicate with professionalism, and you need to be able to know your streamlined process from in to out, so that when you're on call you can articulate professionally exactly what the client is going to get. Number three is going to be the standing operating procedures. Now, this is of course a website brief, a website contract, website invoices, all branded with your logo. It looks professional. Then you're going to have a design to launch procedure, which you're going to bring the client along the entirety of the way. And you're going to do this methodically and slowly so that you don't run into any errors. Then you're going to have the ideology that you can solve any problem. You do that using the tools that I just explained in the last website. In the last section, sorry. So if we come over to my screen, I'm just going to show you two websites. The first one is going to be a £10,000 website. Actually, this was pushing £14,000. Now, this was design and development. And as you can see here, there was quite a lot involved. There was animation, but overall the design was pretty simple. But the core focus of this was speed and obviously having high converting pages. Now, we didn't get into that on this video, high conversion. Now, that is another service you can obviously offer, but these guys had a team of people that done the conversion optimization for me, but I did suggest along the way. Now, you can see this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 page website. Has a load of core interactions. This isn't just, it's not a cookie cutter website. It's not something you get out of the box. But again, it's not something too complicated out here. But the reason why I was able to sell this for £10,000 plus was because I'd done this within 3 weeks, and I guaranteed them that they were going to get a solution that was fast, that was responsive, and there was going to be no errors. Super simple. Look, the pages aren't even that long. Pretty basic interactions, to be honest. So that is an example of a website that is £10,000 plus. And looking at this again, I don't even think this is a very complex website. I'm not even too sure if I used that much custom code. I think there was a small bit in it, but this just goes to show that your websites don't need to be that complex. Because of the process and because of the people I was targeting, I was able to get a website for this cost. Now, the next one I'm going to show you was a £20,000 website. This is for a crypto company. Now, again, this is actually a team of people, huge team of people, of engineers and Webflow developers and designers. And this is a company that is spread across, I think, 5 different countries. And the launch from this really did scare the absolute shit out of me because I thought something was going to go wrong. But because I had all of my processes, because I had all of my steps, nothing did go wrong, and it was a flawless project, and everybody was happy involved, even though the project was a bit of a stressful one. This was actually a project I was talking about where it was like a battle, but it was absolutely invigorating to be a part of because the team was amazing, the people that I was working for was amazing, and the design of it was actually a very challenging design because of the size of it. I think this is over a 25-page website, and the designs, there was a lot of changes involved with this website. But again, there wasn't that much custom code involved within this. Pretty much all of this was built within Webflow. A lot of CMS went into this, but overall, the process of this website, it was the fact that the people could trust me to get done, was the fact that they were willing to pay the higher price. So there you go. This is how you get them £10,000 to £20,000 websites. It is all about professionalism. It is all about being an expert in your field and just having the courage to take the project, but also having the ability to complete it and making sure that you can guarantee the client that it's going to get done. So if you want to learn more, there is a link in the bio where you can join a Facebook group, and you can obviously contact me and we can get you some big old websites and some money in your pocket. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope to speak to you soon.